how to decode how others perceive you at work and how you can find out. Have you ever wondered what others think of you, how they perceive you at work? In this video, I'm going to give you a method for you to find out. Before we jump into that, remember to download my free book with the 3 elements you need to succeed in a management career. You can find the link just below or above this video. So, how to decode how others perceive you at work? It's not easy to know what other people think of us, what impression we leave on them while we work together. Most of the times we are uncertain or even unaware of what we project and how we come across to our peers, to our boss, and also to others in the workplace. And this lack of self-awareness can be career limiting and also hinder the goals that you have set for yourself. Let me share with you the story of Peter, not his real name. Peter was a client I was coaching and who wanted to move towards a senior management role, but had received negative feedback. He did not understand why. His colleagues had considered him negative and difficult to work with. He was astonished. His financial background had taught him to be analytic and thorough. He assumed everyone understood that his way of working in a systematic manner, and the way he challenged the solutions brought to him, that came from his Dutch heritage, was the way to get to the best answer. All good intentions from Peter's side. Very poorly seen by Peter's peers and boss. Is Peter alone in this? Is he the only one that gets a missed impression about what people think about him? Not at all. We all do. Most of us don't know what others think of us. And most times, the perception we think we leave can be very much inaccurate. This is what, in psychology, we call the transparency illusion. The belief that we're all transparent and that others can see our intentions clearly. Nevertheless, there can be a wide gap between intent and perception. Our own preferences and ways of working, as well as emotions and how we express them, can be confusing to interpret. So how can we find out what other people think of you? In the book called The Power of Presence, the author outlines what she calls a presence audit to determine how others perceive you. What I want to share with you today is my own adaptation of her audit and what I see works best according to the people I have used this with. First, this is a really simple exercise everyone can do. It only takes 4 steps. Second, this will be uncomfortable. But you need uncomfortable to grow. You need to be out of your comfort zone as a manager and leader, as a professional. So just kick yourself in the bum and go and do it. Step 1. Choose where you will get information from. So where? From the people that work directly with you. Select 3 to 5 relevant people. What do I mean by relevant? Choose colleagues who see you repeatedly in relevant work situations. Peers, bosses, executives, direct reports, or even former colleagues. Escape the temptation to choose only people with whom you get along with. You need people who can tell you the truth of how you are perceived. Step 2. Ask good questions. The most important is, as much as possible, to conduct it through a face-to-face meeting. Be clear that you'll keep whatever the person tells you, which will encourage honesty, and that you'll be collecting feedback from several people to find out patterns. Explain to them how their feedback will help you develop. It only takes a few well-worded questions to key people so that you get the information that you need. Here are my top 3 that have been proven very effective already on a wide number of occasions. They have worked for myself as well as for my clients. What is your perception of me? What words would you use to describe me or my work, and why? What do you think are my strengths? What could I do differently that could lead me to more success? Depending on who you're asking, you'll hear responses that can range from eye-opening and helpful to vague and confusing. If the person is uncomfortable with giving you advice, This can be the case if they are being evasive. You can reassure them by asking for job or project-specific feedback. You can formulate it such as, what suggestion could you give me for when I'm holding a stakeholder meeting? When drafting a budget, what do I need to improve to ensure it gets approved? Focus on the task. It usually helps people give you also more precise feedback. Step 3. Acknowledge and thank. Listen closely. Let the other person speak. In any case, do acknowledge the feedback as valuable and thank the person who gave you that insight. You can value the feedback you have been giving by saying, I appreciate your feedback. This was most helpful. And also ask for anything further that may not have been made clear. Could you give me an example of what gave you that impression? What specifically were my actions or expressions to give you that impression? End with a sincere thank you. Thank you for sharing this with me. It gives me a different perspective. This is the structure and the questions you can use. But what do you need to watch out for? Very important. Manage your reaction. Train yourself to resist the temptation to explain yourself, to defend your actions, or to reveal disappointment when you are receiving the feedback that you have asked for. The person in front of you, your peers, boss, stakeholders, etc., will be monitoring your body language and your facial expressions to analyze what effect that feedback has on you. The quality and truthfulness of the feedback you'll be receiving will only be as good as your ability to remain calm and neutral while receiving it. If your facial expression is revealing that you are uneasy or unhappy with what is being said, the person will likely abbreviate the feedback and avoid approaching any touchy issues. All of this because your body language or facial expression is giving them a red flag to do so. So avoid things such as rolling your eyes, crossing your arms, and just any kind of expression that shows them that you're closed or not necessarily appreciating what they're telling you. Practice to do this in a more easy way. Remember, this person is presenting you with a perspective you wouldn't have otherwise, so be mindful and respectful of their offer. Feedback is an offer to you. Step 4, and the last step. Analyze and adapt. When you have completed the feedback round with your colleagues, look for patterns or something that has come up more than once. It's okay if you disregard certain parts of the data as long as it doesn't contain valuable information. This is not about putting aside what you didn't like hearing, it's about putting aside something that maybe one person out of 5 told you. This is the analysis of the data. If the perceptions of you are in line with what you intend, that's fantastic. If not, it's time to make adaptations and change your behavior. Only by doing this, you will start to shift the perceptions people have on you. And this is where you can use what you have learned to adapt. In Peter's case, he improved his communication to be clear on his intentions when working with peers from the very beginning. Thanks to this, he was able to change the perceptions people had from him from difficult and negative to meticulous and engaged. It became a huge turning point for him and also for his management career. How do you manage the reactions you have when receiving feedback? Or more than what I have just mentioned to you. What can you do to adapt? Well, that's a topic for another video. Stay well, stay tuned, and see you in my next video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on this. Oh, and if you haven't yet, remember you can download my free book with the 3 elements you need to succeed in a management career. You can find the link just below or above this video. In the meanwhile, take care of yourself and of your career.